22 voted yes, and another 40 voted no, and the finance bill became the Finance Act.
Yeah.
And there are all these issues, it is going to affect you, it is not going to affect you, and it's going to affect us, for sure. There are times like this when you look at others and you say, can we borrow? Just this week, in the U.S., they were opening the Obama Presidential Center.
Yeah.
And one of the things that came through, not how magnificent it is, and the speeches were great by Michelle and Obama and the others, but the accountability.
Yeah.
That the community was so involved that there were actually town hall meetings long before anything was built, just to work with the community, assure them their fears, we are not going to get displaced, or if you are displaced, this is what is going to happen, this is the jobs we are looking into. That accountability sounded to me very beautiful.
Yeah.
I pray one day we will actually be having accountability sessions in our town halls, not public rallies, where maybe every quarter we can sit down the MCA, and he tells us what he's doing with our money, the MP, so that he can tell us why he ran away. We pay him. And sometimes there's some things you hear. I think it was yesterday they were reporting, and the MCAs in Baringo have always gone to Singapore. Like you say, what are they going to do there?
Imagine.
Looking at how many people are displaced by water. What are they going to do? And they're spending billions in those trips. If there was town hall, not public rally. Public rally is a very ugly thing. People just come on the rostrum and they say what they have to do. I am sure if the MPs, the governors, the president, or the IG knew they were going to sit down in a serious place where they can be asked questions, people are asking President Obama any question.
Exactly.
And that helps a lot for people to be accountable. So we pray one day we might have to change so that we get out of the public rally and we come into maybe a place where people can be held more accountable. Yes, now we have the 4.82 trillion budget, and we said 3.6 trillion is going to come from revenue, and another 1.9 is going to be borrowed internally and externally. And we said, how does it affect me? There's going to be a lot of digital enforcement because the state is driving revenue mobilization through integrated digital tax. That's why they are enhanced e-invoicing, e-teams, point of sales system integration, because they want to expand the tax base. So expect to pay more taxes. Yes, there were people who were promised that they would get tax rebates. People earning below 30,000. That was just one of the many promises we ran to here. That did not happen. And so when you buy a new phone, like we said, expect the cost is going to go up. That 25% excise duty is going to be paid by the consumer. So that is going to happen. For your banking, your M-Pesa, KRA has gotten wider powers. They can actually see what you're doing with the money, and they can actually be able to say, hey, you're not paying adequate taxes. And that's why it is important to file our taxes in time and to keep stuff the right way. So today we want to ask a question. What financial challenges are you dealing with? And how do you empower yourself to face these challenges? As part of my day-to-day job, I'm always in training, and this time I was training people who are involved in financial advisory business. They are financial advisors, so that's what they do for a living. And ask them the personal money challenges they face. And it's surprising because I realize I'm not alone. I'm not the only one facing money challenges. It looks to be a very, very common thing. Everybody is facing money challenges. And I picked some of the very common ones I had when people talked. There's something called black tax. I think it's borrowed from South Africa and Ringo, and then they went to the US, then they come back here. This is the money you support your relations. We're in Africa, we're in that part of Africa where we have to pay this black tax. And a lot of people are struggling with it. And sometimes it is not easy to get out of it. I always say, if you look at canonical law, it says honor your father and mother, so that it can be good for you. So sometimes you have to support them if they need your support. But there's a lot of work that can be done around there, because sometimes people are taking extremely heavy burden. I listened to this lady. Her mother is taking debts. She has to take loans to pay those debts. There's nothing she's doing, yet she has a lot of expenses. And one of the easiest ways of doing black tax is to find out the person I'm supporting. What can I support them so they do something for themselves? We were joking, saying, if your mother is out in the village, don't keep sending her all the money all the time. You know, if you bought her chicken and she's able to get eggs and kifaranga, she's going to have her own income. And chicken in the village, you don't have to struggle too much to feed it. So simple things that we can do. There's a lot of people who say they have too little to spend. As soon as they get paid, inaishaga hata kama hawajajua. You know, there's that moment you get paid and you feel good. But within a few minutes,
it's gone.
It is gone. It is gone. There's a lot of people who are struggling with tracking their expenses. You know, they keep wondering, na hii pesa ilienda wapi? So that's another very common one. Of course, many people not sticking to a budget. They make a budget. They don't stick to the budget. There are people who are suffering from impulse buying. And I know we talked about impulse buying. You just see, you like, you buy. There are people saying, for me, I make wrong investment decisions. When I look at it, it's very common. I keep making mistakes. I get conned here. And as though I'm healing, I get conned again. So we have all those people who make wrong investment decisions. There are people who say we have no financial goals. Pesa ikikuja, we just deal with money. And quite a big number of people say they have no financial discipline. They say this is what they are going to do. And they don't actually do it. And I mentioned to that group that there's a way out of this status that they are. And one of the biggest ways out is what we call financial literacy, you know, because you have to empower yourself. You have to know how to deal with this. Of course, a number of them doubted because they have engaged in financial literacy programs. And the conversations were around restrictive budgeting, cutting back. And sometimes you say, what am I cutting back? I have cut to the very minimum. What more can I be able to cut? But true financial literacy is not about depriving yourself. It's about learning how to design a life where you are intentional. You know, you have purpose. You have a mastery over money through a few things that you're going to do. A lot of these are mind shifts. You can shift your mind. Like sometimes people say, this is the only income I have, but they don't look at what else can I do to have another income. That's a mind shift. So you can have a mind shift. So for many young professionals, the term we need to understand is financial planning, but people feel like this is a very distant issue that is reserved for people who have the money. Me, if I don't have money, what am I planning?
Exactly.
That's the argument. But if you don't plan the little you have, how will you plan the big ones? I think it's in Matthew 25, I think 29. Those who have more will be given more. Those who have little, even the little will be taken away.
Exactly.
So you need to deal with the little better so that you can have more added onto you. So to be impactful, we need to have a smart financial plan. And it is about creating a roadmap so that we can actually be able to use the resources we have much, much better. Because especially when people are young, there's one thing they have, and they have in plenty, time. If you can actually utilize that time, it will become very good. So to help us navigate this financial journey, let's look at maybe 5 critical pillars of our financial literacy, which I want to share today. And the number one key issue we want to look at is we need a mind shift from restrictive spending to designing your own empowerment plan. So it is not always cutting back and cutting back. So the first step in financial literacy is shifting the mindset from saving versus spending. So it is not saving versus spending. It is intentional allocation. I am allocating. Rather than viewing money from the rent of restrictive budgeting, you know, like scrutinizing when you buy a cup of coffee, when you buy something. We want to view it as an open system where there's a roadmap. You're looking ahead and saying, this is where I want to be, and you're allocating resources in that area. And this shift from don't buy cappuccino to let's spend here and also spend there. So we are looking at where else do we need to spend. So we quantify our goals so that we're able to focus on the things we want to do. What do you want to do? Start a business? Good. If you identify you want to start a business, the question is, how much money do I need to have? How do I save it? Pole over time. Sometimes, you know, people want to travel. And they're saying, I want to travel. Once you identify where you are traveling and you can quantify how much it is, you start saving in there. Or it could be education for our children. And tonight we're going to talk about that, and I'll mention that. So that we transform from, anxiety to strategy. Because a lot of times we suffer from anxiety. For example, somebody may choose to prioritize convenience, I want to make it easier. And this is where people say, okay, and there's always a big debate. Do I buy a car or do I buy a house? Sometimes you look at it and say, let me buy a car for convenience. Yes. It will serve me better. It is going to make my life easier. Maybe I'm a salesperson, so I need the car. Maybe before I buy the house, the car will allow me to earn more money. Or sometimes it could be you want to do something in your career. You have seen where I am, I think I need to go back to school. I must squeeze in a bit of money so that I can be able to look at that. Or it could be something long-term. So you're looking at things that are way above. So it is not don't do this so that you do this. Do all of them as much as you can, but be intentional. So that's the first mind shift we're looking at, being intentional. That becomes important. The second pillar that is important is about building a safety net, because we need psychological security. Money issues are very psychological. They actually say for money, 20% is the money, 80% is the psychology around the money. And so financial stability is built on a foundation of psychological safety. And so the primary benefit of financial plan is the confidence that comes from having a documented strategy of the unexpected events, such as job loss and all those. You have said, if this happens, what will I do? And this is why we talk about putting together an emergency fund. And times like this are very, very critical. I mean, if you have young children, they want you to provide every day. And they don't care whether you have a job or you don't have a job. And jobs are dropping easily, sometimes in an ugly way. Gikomba just banned this week. Those are jobs gone. Yeah. But the children at home are expecting something. And so this is where now creating a financial safety net, we talk about an emergency fund. And we say an emergency fund is, we're saying, if I did not have my income for a 3-month period, how do I continue living? Because after 3 months, you will have found your way somewhere. Mm-hmm. So it's just working out how much do I need, and we start putting it together slowly over time. And that's going to help us get out of financial anxiety, because financial anxiety is a very bad thing. When we see a lot of financial stress, it comes from that anxiety. Mm-hmm. I'm worried. When I hear a rumor in the organization, I think now we are going to get fired. Yeah. So you find you're not even focusing on the work because of this fear you have. You're in business and you're wondering, is government going to start building a road here? Are we going to be moved out of here? So when you have a fund, and then you can put up other security issues, like we say, some medical insurance here, some life insurance here. Those means of protecting, it's like you're protecting your earning engine. Mm-hmm. That earning engine needs to be there. You need to be able to help it so that it is able to protect it, so that it is able to generate income. So that safety net is one of the ways of empowerment, because once you empower yourself that way, you don't get financial shocks. Yeah. Should anything happen, if you got out of job, if your business did not work, life is able to continue like that for a while. In fact, we say, if you can structure your investment that for 6 months you can sustain your lifestyle, that becomes a very secure place to be. So that's the other thing that we need to look at, empowerment. And that's why learning is a very big thing. Yeah. Because for a lot of people, when they lose their income, it becomes very, very devastating. Exactly. Then we see a lot of challenges. We have to move house quickly. We have to change children from school. And there are a lot of psychological challenges. We're in a group of schools, then we end up in a public school. Yeah. Or we were actually urban-based and we end up a rural place. We see interesting things. Sometimes I work with psychologists, and there was this case where the children were moved from the city and they were taken to the village. And one child had a serious problem because they don't want to go to the pit latrine. Yeah. And because they don't want to go to the pit latrine, they actually don't go to the toilet. Look at that. And that works against them. So they were sick all the time, and people wondering, why is this child getting sick? That rapid change is not healthy for anybody. Yeah. In fact, if you're living in the city and you went to the village, you'll be very confused even where to start. Mm-hmm. And the people there know their routine. You don't know their routine. So very, very important to create a financial safety net, because that way we protect our earning engine. The other thing is about saving and investment, because we have to grow the wealth. And so it is not only going to be saving, we must be able to invest. Saving is very good for liquidity, but investment is the mechanism that allows money to grow and compound. So we are not going to be only in the saving spaces. We need to go into the investment spaces. So we're looking at We have short-term goals. Yes, we need to do some capital preservation, but we need to invest in other vehicles. That's why in this country we are lucky. We got a lot of vehicles. Even people in other countries don't have.
Yeah.
The money market funds we have, the pension funds we have, special funds. You can buy shares, you can buy insurance policies, you can buy real estate, and there are many other savings and investments depending on the goals we have and the horizon that we have. So it is not just keeping money in the bank and saving. We give it an opportunity to go and work, because when the money works, it is going to compound and increase. And it is as a simple thing as joining the circle. Because when you join the circle, remember every year there's a dividend check that is coming, and your money is going to be able to grow. And this is very easy, and we always say you don't have to start with all the money. If you told yourself you save 100 shillings per week, there are very many places where they will accept you 100 shillings a week. You know, your money market fund will do that. Your local account will accept that. And then you give it a chance for investment, because when you give it a chance for investment, now you will obviously find you're creating wealth. Your money is multiplying, your money is growing. So it is not necessarily that I'm saving 100,000, no, it's as little as the money that we can. And if you give it time, there's one magic about money. It's called compounding.
Yes.
Compounding is one big magic that we have. So that's another thing that we can actually be able to do. The other one is being consistent. If there's something that works in the money space, is being consistent.
Yeah.
This is where you need long-term discipline. We have seen in the last couple of days, people want quick gains very quickly. They'll go into cryptocurrency, they'll go into forex trading, and because there's an allure that's going to give you a lot of return quickly. But the risk is always very high, and a lot of people have lost. And that's why people want to go to things that are more established, things that have been working for a long time. So we are consistent. And we have many places where you can be consistent. I think the circle is the best example, that you can actually be able to put in money every month over a period of time, and it is going to grow and help you. If you have an investment club with your friends, if you're a chama, you can actually be consistent over a long period of time. And that consistency is something that you can practice for other things, your insurance policy, your money market fund. The only thing that you do so that you be consistent, you automate money movement. Because waiting for me to go to the bank, withdraw the money, and then go and take it somewhere, that's very, very tricky. Yeah. That's part of the discipline that will allow us to do. And because the money is moving automatically, you actually don't see it. Yeah. So when you go check your bank balance, it is not there. So you will not be tempted to go and buy another shoe or entertain your friends. It is going to find its way to where you want it to be. And then so these things are available to Kenyans. These are tools that are available, and they are very efficient for long-term wealth creation that people can do. So that's a very, very important thing that we can actually be able to do. And the fifth thing I want to mention is when you get into investment, give it time. There is no investment that works overnight. Yeah. If you look at trees, I think are a good example. Hardwood trees take ages. The ones that grow very fast are never hardwood. Yeah. And in fact, you cannot use it for a lot of things. Some of them you cannot even light a fire. They're so light. But when you think about hardwood, it takes a lot of time. So when you get into the investment space, we need to give it time. Give it time. Yes, I want to start early. My children will go to college, but we start early. It's very interesting, and I told you we'll talk about education, financing in the evening today. And I asked people about their children, and people have nice dreams of their children. I asked them, when I asked that question, generally, what do I hear? I want her to be an engineer, I want her to be a lawyer, I want her to be a doctor. And those are good dreams. And we should not kill those dreams. I joke around, children are interesting. They will tell you they want to be a teacher and a doctor. As they grow, they see other things. This season, they'll tell you they want to be a footballer. Yeah. They have seen now Messi and
scoring left, right, and
so they want to be Messi. Next year, we'll have a lot of campaign. They want to be president.
Exactly.
But when they end up 16, 17, they settle down on a career. And one of the worst things is for them to say, I want to do medicine, and then you're telling them there's no money. That's a very tough decision. And I was just looking at the fees in this country. For most of our universities, the fee for medicine is anything from, I think, 370 to 650 per year. That's tuition alone.
Yeah.
So if you do it for a 6-year period, we are talking about 3 million. And that's just tuition. We have to factor in what? Hostels. We have to factor in this person has to eat, and data and books and a trip. And the young people, they need to dress well. In fact, some of the universities don't even allow jeans.
Exactly.
So they have to dress well. Yeah. They have to go for a show. The young people, when these Sauti Sol has a show, they need to show up there. They have trips that they want to do with their friends. This is the age where their friends are getting married and they're in the queue. You need to buy them a suit.
Yeah.
So you can actually see the cumulatively the money is quite a lot. But if you start planning early, and this is what education planning is all about. If you start planning early, it gets easier. It's the same thing if you're thinking about owning a house. And you say, for me, the method I'll use, I'll go to the bank and take a mortgage. Remember, they will ask you for a deposit, maybe 10%, maybe 15%. You can take time and build that over a period of time. So we need to give it time. It doesn't work if we don't give it time. So it is important. We say the best time to start was years ago. But the second best time is today. If you don't start today, it is not going to happen. So if you focus on these pillars, ultimately we'll be able to invest long term, no matter how little money we have. When you look at even our country, if you've been in the city for long, you've seen people who are running small tuck shops. And over time, you find it's become a supermarket. It's become big. So it works in every other way. You slowly grow it, but you're consistent and you're focusing on it. It gets very, very big. Obviously, at the moment, like you said, there are all those challenges. It's something we call lifestyle inflation. The money you are using to sustain your life is not enough, so we need to get more. And this is what we say, one of the things we need to look at is how to become smart, how to live smart. Smart means you can be able to sustain your lifestyle, but pay less for that. And this is why you have to consider, so how do I pay less? I jokingly say, if you like eating pizza, eat on Tuesday.
Exactly.
For the price of one, they give you 2. But on the other side, if you want to buy your veggies, why don't you go to the market on the market day? Why don't you do bulk purchases if you can do bulk purchases? If you travel, why don't you buy them out of town? Sometimes they are cheaper. So there are all those many possibilities that we can be able to look at so that we don't get very, very squeezed. But I know our listeners had questions even before I conclude.
Good. Before you conclude, but I feel you've spoken to most of them. But now, as you've said, Mr. Wahome, people are actually struggling. And one from Alice from Donholm say, I have been following Mr. Wahome's teachings. Thank you for the practical financial lessons. Many of us are employed but still live from paycheck to paycheck. How can some of us earning a modest income start building wealth without sacrificing essential family needs?
Okay. I think that's a good way of looking at it. So we always have two options that we have to work together. We might need to have a few more shillings coming in. Yes, we are employed, but how many hours do we work for employer? 8 hours. So what happens to the day has 24? Maybe we sleep for 8. So we have another 8 somewhere. We can use that for commuting. We can use that for eating. We will end up with 3-4 hours. What can we do those 3-4 hours? When times are tough, and people who lived outside the country will tell you, people do 2 jobs. They don't do 2 jobs because they love it. They do 2 jobs because of necessity. And it's very common people leave this country because the pay is good. But how do you get on the other side? The cost of living is so high that, yes, you're getting paid that big pay, but you realize you have not been left with anything. In most places, housing is very expensive. Transport is the biggest thing. So we have to ask ourselves, what else can I do to generate another shilling? Because if you have to, if my income is modest, and I do not want to say leave the job. No, that would be very disruptive if you're not ready. But what can you do to be able to earn more money? So you have to think around the space where you are. And when you think critically, and this is where now financial riches comes in, you might need to go and sit with somebody to get trained on something so that you're more good at that. The other side of it is to say, okay, this is how much we are spending for living. how can we reduce it? Just like I said earlier, if you're spending so much buying vegetables and stuff, what if you went to the market on the market day? You're going to have a reduction. What if you do bulk purchases from that store that sells things on bulk? You'll end up getting slightly more. So we plan ahead where we want to be. We want to maybe own a home. We want to prepare for our children to go to college. We want to set up a business. And once we set up that, we start looking at the revenue. We have to see how much do we allocate. That's what we're saying. We be intentional. So that's the way to work around that.
Okay.
Remember, we can't wring our hands in the air and give up.
Exactly.
That's not a possibility.
It's not a possibility. All right. And Peter here says, a very good morning to you, Mr. Wahome. My biggest problem is I'm overwhelmed by multiple debts from banks, mobile loans, and friends. What should be the first step towards regaining financial control and avoiding depression caused by debt stress?
That's a common thing, and happens a lot now. One, because credit is so readily available. If I just stand to my phone, I have very many lenders who are willing to lend me. If I'm walking down the street, there are so many people who will tell you your credit will be approved in a few hours. You can come and drop your phone or your laptop or whatever. So credit is readily available. It's a question of us understanding credit better. Again, financial literacy comes in here, understanding credit well. Because one of the things I've seen long term, a lot of people don't understand the cost of money. And when you find people are with digital lenders, they're with Shyrox, the biggest undoing is the interest rates they have to pay. And that becomes very big and becomes impossible for somebody even to pay it up. So in this case, when somebody feels overwhelmed by debt and the risk of financial distress is very, very high, the first thing is to take stock. Like list out all the debts you have. When you list out the debt, you list what's the name of the debt, how much is that debt, what is the interest rate I'm paying, and when you have the interest rate, please convert it into per annum so that then you can see them properly. Convert that. This is a calculator called cost of credit. That cost of credit calculator, you can get it, you can Google for that. It's going to help you to work out so that you get the annual percentage rate. Then you're going to say to yourself, how much pressure is this debt giving me? And the last thing is, you want to write out what's the consequence if I don't pay it. What will happen? Because if you owe the bank and you had used the logbook of your car, they'll sell your car. If you owe your brother, he's not likely to do too much. He might report you to your parent. You unaweza jitetea. But sometimes, you know, when you have these digital lenders, I hope they stop to the habit. They would actually tell everybody. And then you have the reputation risk that you have to deal with, which is not a great thing. Once you've been able to do that, you have documented, you're very, very clear on what your debt is. The next thing that you actually do is to ask yourself a simple question. Why am I falling into debt? What of your habits, what of your lifestyle, what of your commitment is exceeding your income? Because that's what is pushing your debt. There's no point of trying to address debt without understanding what's causing it. Why am I going in? And so if you're able to identify that, then the next thing you have to try and identify is what resources do I have to address this debt? What resources? And you can say, well, I have a pay that's going to come in so much. I'm anticipating to get a SACCO dividend check for so much. I have shares somewhere. I have a property somewhere. All those resources. So that now, once you know the debt, you know what is causing the debt, you know the resources you have. The next thing is prioritization. How do I pay? You can't pay all of them on one day. When you come to prioritization, you always ask one question. Which one is affecting me the most? Which one has more serious consequences? And normally the ones with more serious consequences, it could be the interest rate is very high, or the person who lend you can harm you one way or the other. I mean, harming is like you can actually imagine somebody taking away your car or your laptop. They will harm you because you're not able to operate. So you prioritize. Once you prioritize, you start focusing on paying the first one. As you prioritize, there are two approaches you can deal with. You can consolidate. Consolidate means I can go to the SACCO, take a loan, and pay all the small loans. Then I'm left with one loan at the SACCO. The other way is you can actually go and negotiate. You know, you owe your brother. You told him you're going to pay him in August. And you can see from all things you can't. Go and sit and say, sorry, I promised August, but I can see it's not possible. Please allow me to pay December.
Yeah.
That gives you a break of a couple of months when he's not going to bother you.
Yeah.
So you say, from all the people I lend, who can I negotiate with? Who can give me more time? Even the bank, we always say to people, don't run away from the bank.
Banks, yes.
They are happy to negotiate. Don't run away from school. They're happy to negotiate. Once you negotiate and you agree which one you're going to pay first, you focus on the one you're paying and put the resources in there. Deal with number one. Once number one is done, deal with number two. But always keep an eye on what cost me to go into this debt.
Exactly.
Because if you don't address that, you will find yourself there. And that's what we say, when you're in debt, stop digging.
Yeah, exactly.
Because new debts will not solve the problem.
That
They'll
is
make
true.
it bigger. Of course, the other thing, professional help. Yes, you can walk into a professional and you say, this is my problem, please walk with me. That's a possibility.
All right. Hello, Mr. Wahome and Bram. I'm James from Thika. Thank you for the great insights. In a period of rising living costs, should families now focus more on increasing income or reducing expenses? And how can they strike the right balance between the two?
Focus on both.
Okay.
Focus on both, checking that one does not destroy the other. You can reduce your income so much that you actually destroy your forward movement.
Exactly.
In reducing your expenses, you park the car at home, but every time you use public transport, you're getting late for work.
Yeah.
Now you'll be hurting yourself because somebody at work will be asking, why are you coming late?
Exactly.
So you have to actually work on them. Yes, as you increase your income, don't neglect your expenses. You might increase your income, but neglect your expenses and they go up. So again, it's a balance that we need to keep. But more importantly, which one are you able to? Which is easiest for you? Is it to increase your income? Or is it to lower your cost of living? Everybody has to weigh and say, this is the easier option for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. In conclusion, Mr. Wahome, let me give you the remaining minutes so that you can give the conclusion and also remind us about today's class.
Okay, thank you. So we said, like I said, the common challenges, and I think those are the ones that have been highlighted. Black tax, and we're not going to get out of black tax for a lot of us.
Yeah.
What we'd have to do, I think psychologists who say, don't help the person carry the monkey. Show them how to walk with their monkey.
Exactly.
Okay, very, very important.
Yeah.
So very, very, very important to do that. Having too little to spend as soon as we receive the pay, I think the option here is how can I increase the income? So that's what. Not earning enough for things that I want, again, working on increasing the income. And there are many ways of increasing the income. Isn't that why we go back to school?
Exactly.
So we can get a promotion. Isn't that why we look for something else that we can be able to do? Isn't this why we sometimes change houses? So that you stop paying more rent, then you have more surplus.
Yeah.
So there are all those things. Not tracking expenses, I think this is a discipline issue. We do the budget, we track the expenses. Not sticking to budget is a discipline issue. I think we can say it's a discipline issue. Being a spendthrift, then you know the consequences of being a spendthrift, so we want to work in there. If you're suffering from impulse buying, you might have to talk to yourself.
Yeah.
What is causing you? Do you carry too much cash on you? Sometimes you avoid some places or you avoid some people.
Yeah.
Because as long as you go out with them, you're going to find yourself spending a lot. Wrong investment decisions, work with somebody who can give you advice so that you don't have problems. If you don't have goals, you need to work with somebody to help you to set goals. And we said, shift your mindset so that you do not have restrictive spending, but you design your empowerment plan, so you're going to be intentional in your allocation. So you're very clear what you're going to do. Build a safety net, very, very important. Psychologically, you'll be very secure when you have that emergency fund. So we said it's not saving. What you want to do is investing. Allow your money to go into a place where it is going to grow and be consistent. I think we said be consistent. And the last one we said give it time.
Yeah.
Give it time. Don't expect magic. Don't expect it to happen. I mean, we have what we call the law of the farm. Whether you are brought up on the farm or whether you've seen a farm, it's always easier. If you want land to give you something, you go clear.
Yeah.
Give it time. Okay, you come and prepare the ground, give it time. You plant your seeds, give them time. Everything you do, you give it time. You come and plow them, you give them time, and it is after all that you're going to harvest. It's the same thing when you're dealing with money.
Yeah.
So we want to make progress by empowering ourselves, so that you can be able to face your money challenges. Consider empowering yourself. And this is why I'm saying this requires some basic financial knowledge on your side. And this is why I always encourage people, you need to come to the Wealth Creation Masterclass so that you can build your financial intelligence, your ability to be able to make financial decisions with a lot of ease, because we are structured, we are tested, and we've been proven to work. So we have a class that's on tonight. We will actually be looking at how to prepare the college fees for our children so they can pursue their dream career. If they want to become a doctor, they want to become an IT professional, let the dream not die because we don't have the money.
Yeah.
So this is a 2-hour session. It is on Zoom tonight, and you can always book yourself a slot. Come and listen, come and get to know the fees at the tertiary level, because we're going to look at that and the funding alternatives that you have. So the number is 0708 150 137. If you text now, WhatsApp now, somebody is going to answer you on the other side. 0708 150 137. And I'm hoping now we have found out, yes, we'll have to continue to facing our money challenges.
Yeah.
What we need to do is to empower ourselves. This is not something we can delegate to somebody else.
Exactly.
This is ours to deal. Obviously, they did not open these subjects in school, so we have to learn from the University of Life. It gets easier if you get a class where now you can be structured. So join us tonight, and you're going to learn something. I'm sure you'll be better off in making sure that you have the high fees that are required for that university or college career for your child.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Wahome, for the insights this morning. I really wish you a very productive Tuesday. Let's meet again next week, God willing. Asante sana.
Thank you very much. Wish you a blessed day. Thank you, listener. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your participation. We're always happy about that. Let's get to see you in the evening if you join the class.
Exactly. Remember today's evening, how to prepare for college fees for your children. You can send the SMS requesting for guidance on how to join today's class, 0708 150 137, or most importantly, get yourself a copy of the wallet words done by Mr. Wahome himself. All right, 0708 150 137 still remains the way you can get in touch. In the meantime, you're taking a very short break for news of the bishop. Don't go too far.
You are listening to Radio Mini. Hivi karibuni kuanzia tarehe 18 hadi tarehe 26 Julai mwaka huu kutakuwa na kongamano la maaskofu wa eneo la Amesea ambao watakutanika katika jiji letu kuu la Nairobi, pale katika chuo kikuu cha Kwea. Na ningependa kuchukua nafasi hii kuwaalikeni nyote vijana wetu ili tuweze kushiriki haswa katika misa ya ufunguzi ya siku hiyo. Na katika mazungumzo na majadiliano ya wakati huo, mada itakuwa inahusiana na vijana, mambo ya vijana ambayo ni muhimu, vijana ambao ni wengi sana katika eneo hili la Amesea, vijana ambao kwa mambo mengi wanatarajiwa kuleta mabadiliko mengi ya kiroho na masuala mengine ya uongozi. Kwa hivyo vijana wetu tunasema karibuni sana, mzidi kutuombea na tunawapenda sana.
Mkutano mkuu wa maaskofu hao utafanyika katika chuo kikuu cha kanisa Katoliki Kwea kuanzia tarehe 19 hadi tarehe 26 mwezi wa Julai. Sote tumealikwa. Kauli mbiu ya mwaka huu ni safari ya sinodi kati ya Amesea na vijana, kujenga madaraja ya ushirikiano, matumaini, haki na utawala bora. Amesea Synodal Journey with young people, building bridges of communion, hope, justice
This is the voice of the bishops.
Yale ambayo ningependa kueleza vijana wetu ni kwamba hivi karibuni kuanzia tarehe 18 hadi tarehe 26 Julai mwaka huu kutakuwa na kongamano la maaskofu wa eneo la Amesea ambao watakutanika katika jiji letu kuu la Nairobi, pale katika chuo kikuu cha Kwea. Na ningependa kuchukua nafasi hii kuwaalikeni nyote vijana wetu ili tuweze kushiriki haswa katika misa ya ufunguzi ya siku hiyo. Na katika mazungumzo na majadiliano ya wakati huo, mada itakuwa inahusiana na vijana, mambo ya vijana ambayo ni muhimu, vijana ambao ni wengi sana katika eneo hili la Mesea, vijana ambao kwa mambo mengi wanatarajiwa kuleta mabadiliko mengi ya kiroho na masuala mengine ya uongozi. Kwa hivyo vijana wetu tunasema karibuni sana, mzidi kutuombea na tunawapenda sana.
Mkutano mkuu wa maaskofu hao utafanyika katika chuo kikuu cha kanisa Katoliki Kwea kuanzia tarehe 19 hadi tarehe 26 mwezi wa Julai. Sote tumealikwa. Kauli mbiu ya mwaka huu ni safari ya sinodi kati ya Mesea na vijana, kujenga madaraja ya ushirikiano, matumaini, haki na utawala bora. Amesea Synodal Journey with young people, building bridges of communion, hope, justice.
This is the voice of the bishops.